StarCraft. It's Vanguard League, Season 5. Group C of round of 16 action here for you. The final group stages until we get into the playoffs here for you. Of course, everyone who makes it into the round of 8 gets 15 bucks, which is 15 bucks more than I've ever made playing video games. Khloe's hitting me up with some messages here, but we're gonna go ahead and get into the player introductions. Spawning in the top of Vonnie Research Station, representing 440 Gaming, it is the Orange Zerg player, SoLJeRVictuS. And his opponent, whose grandma doesn't like my swearing, representing nobody but his fine self, rocking the green trunks, who lost his first series versus Freedom. It is the green Terran player, Khloe. And Khloe opted to skip a Rax and build a command center. And SoLJeRVictuS did something, basically does what he normally does, which is also take an early hatchery. Both players scouted with a worker, and both players are noting the pretty much the same thing is going down. Barracks going down for Khloe to finish up, or at least start to finish up the ramp at the top of the wall at the top of the ramp in his main. Overlords getting their way across the map to continue their scouting odysseys. Scouting pool halfway from finishing up. Refinery going down for Khloe, as well as his command center there in the natural. Nothing crazy. No 2-Rax shenanigans. At the time being that SC or that drone rather making its way back into the mineral line to continue with its life's work, which is to collect minerals for the hive, for the great. How much job satisfaction do you think drones have? Like, do you think that drones have like a government program to, to go around and find out how people are feeling about their life? Like like a drone, you talk to a drone, you're like, on a scale of 1 to 10, how much do you enjoy yourself? It's probably going to say a 5, right? It can't say like a 6 or 7. It just chews up rock. Like what? Okay. So an SCV, he's got a drill, right? An SCV's got the drill on the front of him. And probes have a little electric pulsar beam thing that kind of, carves out the rock. What does a drone have? A drone has its face. It literally eats minerals and then gives it to something. That's all it does all day long. Like, A, they probably don't have health, so dental's got to be a fuck ton of money for them, right? And then B, you're chewing rocks with your face. Like, that's not. I'm just saying I wouldn't volunteer to do it. Back in Khloe's base, he's got a reactor going down on his barracks and a factory right next to it. Looks like it's going to be transferred on top of it. And I'm just going to guess here, going out on a limb to say we're probably going to see some Hellions, ladies and gentlemen. I know that's a pretty crazy prediction here. No Reaper on the way, or no Reaper was created. It said 2 Marines. So for that, Khloe's going to have to rely on either guesswork, scouting by way of scanning, or if he can get his Hellions back in there to see that his opponent's taken 2 gases and will eventually be moving on to some other various types of tech. Currently, though, SoLJeRVictuS hasn't shown us what he's going for. He's taken 3 workers on each extractor, no 3rd gas down on his natural. So just right now, things are shaping up the way you'd expect them to. SoLJeRVictuS playing a fairly standard game, and his opponent, Khloe, doing the exact same thing as well. The thing that matters on Vonnie Research Station is that there's a lot of open space in the middle, but it's narrow, and there's definite droppability. So with a player like Alcester, I would assume would love this map, even though we haven't seen him play it versus Zerg. The dude loves to drop, and we would expect to see him utilize this map to that extent. 2 Hellions making their way out of the map, Stim on its way, as well as Speed for SoLJeRVictuS. Things are pretty standard up until this, at this point in time. 2 more Hellions on the way. Khloe going to be able to scout the 3rd timing. 2 Queens making their way out off of creep to contest these 2 Hellions. 1 getting down to about 60% health. Not the greatest thing you want to see as a Terran player, but as more Hellions make their way on the map to contest these Lings and their ability to scout the 3rd timing, they don't catch the other one that's hiding there by the mineral line. And for that reason alone, Khloe's 3rd is going to get scouted by both the Overlord and the Ling that is chilling at that placement. Sorry, just drinking some water. Baneling Nest going down, Roach Warren just about to finish up. That's where we're at right now. Lair is, of course, on a really close to finishing up as well. +1 armor and weapons upgrade just got started for Khloe. And SoLJeRVictuS find himself in a little bit of a pickle. Again, getting supply blocked here. Pardon me. Making more overlords to compensate for that. SoLJeRVictuS has shown a propensity in the past to get a little bit of a supply block at certain points of the game, especially in game 1 versus Alcester, which he won, mind you. He got supply blocked for like 2 minutes straight with the 94 supply block. It certainly seemed it was that long. Maybe it wasn't that long if I go back and watch the replay, but it certainly felt very long, and it definitely had a noticeable effect on his army size at the time in which he was able to contest Alcester's army. Meanwhile, 6 Hellions here gonna meet these drones out. They might be able to catch a couple out. 2 go down fairly quickly. A third and another. Wow, he's actually got some pretty good returns on here. Now he's gonna fight these roaches and they're all gonna die. Maybe not the best trade, because at this point in time you really want to be if you're gonna be doing that, sacrificing 6 Hellions for that, you want to get a fuck ton of drones, not that many. And I say a fuck ton because I don't like your grandma Khloe, and I want her to be really especially offended at my casting ability. Regardless, Spark going down, halfway finished. +1 is about to finish for our Terran player. +1 melee attacks just started for SoLJeRVictuS, and combat shields, of course, coming in for those Marines and their 25 plus health points. If we look back in the base of Khloe right now, he's getting his production buildings underway. The 3rd command center is still in the main, producing SCVs for the natural. And right now, there's actually a pretty standard supply difference between the 2 players. And the reason is because SoLJeRVictuS hasn't really decided whether he's going to make an absolute amazing amount of roaches or an absolute amazing amount of mutas. And now here's the thing on that, right? When you're Zerg, you get your larva up, you get your tech up, you get your mineral bank and your gas bank up. And then when you see what your opponent's doing or you have a timing, then you spend a bunch of money and you make what you can make. And right now we're seeing SoLJeRVictuS going to go ahead and, of course, get out some mutas here, as well as +1 flying attacks. He's got bailing speed just about to finish up. And, you know what? It's a fairly typical build order here. And it's not anything crazy. But one thing I do like from SoLJeRVictuS is his creep spread is coming along rather nicely at the 11-minute, 30-second mark in the game. An Overlord down in the 3rd of Khloe has gotten its creep spread. It's got its job done as SoLJeRVictuS takes a 4th and as Khloe attempts to take a 3rd. There's a lot of Marines out in the middle of the map right now with no protection aside from one Marauder, and these mutas are able to make their way across the map and join up in a big old flock of about 6 or 7. It looks like it's going to be when they all get together, maybe a little bit less than that. But they're going to be able to come in here. They're going to meet 3 turrets and possibly want to make their way away with their lives. 1 muta just about to die. I don't know how many shots it takes for a turret to kill a muta, but that seems like a lot. I know a spore crawler will 3-shot a muta, and turrets it takes like 5 shots to kill a muta. So to me, that seems like an excessive amount of shots. But I don't know. I'm not a game designer. I just like talk about the game and play it. So what do I know, right? Medevacs, mines, turrets, Marines on the way for Khloe. Ling Bling Muta is the selection of the day for SoLJeRVictuS, the soup du jour, as it were. Khloe not going to get supply blocked anytime soon, 148 out of 169. SoLJeRVictuS at 143. And upgrades looking fairly standard, looking pretty typical, like you'd see at this stage of the game. 13 minutes, nothing crazy. No 3-3 by your 15-minute mark for either opponent. Now we're seeing a bit of a push come out of Khloe. He's got a good amount of Marines here in bio, medevacs, mines, all that good stuff. And we're going to see him pushing across and seeing if he can really get some damage done. This is going to have to do a lot of damage. There hasn't been into continuous aggression coming out of him. So it's been tough for him to be able to get the sort of damage he needs to get done against the economy of his Zerg opponent. There are a couple of Banelings and Lings here. By a couple, I mean a lot. They're going to try and meet them as soon as they come onto this creep. More Banelings being more really good position. The Muta's going to be coming on the other way. There's no splitting as of yet. Now he's going to try and get off creep. Then he stims, and now he's going to be able to split up his army a little bit. Not the greatest return by SoLJeRVictuS, and actually a lot of Marines left over here for Khloe, but now plummeting supply. A lot of Lings, a lot of Roaches. And this is what I was talking about. The Muta's able to get in on top of the medevacs. When you are not constantly harassing and pressuring Zerg, they're able to get up these numbers and they're able to do the damage like we're seeing now get done. And unfortunately for Khloe, down to 119 supplies, this is looking really rough for him. Medivacs mines in the right places. Oh my god, that's a lot of banelings. How many did we just morph in over? So that's 16 plus 6 more is 22. So we've got 22 banelings on the way. That's a healthy amount of banelings that are just going to come crashing in. Muta's making their way to the natural, and these two medevacs are going to not get spotted, and he's actually bringing back his army. He doesn't need to do this. Maybe he saw it. Now he's going to see it with the Overlord, and the Mutas are going to do their damage. So SoLJeRVictuS knows he's ahead, and he's just going to do that Zerg thing where he gets even more ahead. It's going to be exponential. There is a turret here, but this is a lot of Mutas. There's a scan going down at the gold to make sure that SoLJeRVictuS doesn't have the gold taken, but Khloe's scan was wasted because he didn't. This drop is getting absolutely manhandled. And the thing is that Khloe now looks at this army and goes, how the fuck do I beat that? That's a ridiculous amount of forces. I don't have it. I can't fight that right now. He needs to buy time for himself, and he's going to do that by dropping as well as he can. But he's not Alcester. He's not dropping like 3 places at once. And, drop. He does just now have the production behind it. There's a Thor, 2 medevacs, and 10 Marines on the way at a time for Khloe. He might be able to catch up in terms of supply, but is he going to be able to catch up in terms of psychological advantage? Muta's going to come in, clean up these medevacs, clean up these Marines. They can contest him, and that's because he's got a big old flock of Mutas. 2 Queens able to get the last shots on that medevac here. Creep spread, not exactly where I'd want it for SoLJeRVictuS at this point in the game. Khloe pushing out again with a sizable amount of forces, but dude, look at that big old orange ball. And they're actually going to fight off Creep. He's like, screw it, I don't care. Now he's going to be getting off of Creep. Decent spread from Khloe to dissuade the Zerg player from going at him just yet. But so many banelings. And so many, it's just so much everything right now. Khloe's actually done really well to have his supply where he's at, but here's the difference. If Khloe loses this engagement and he loses all his forces right now, that's it. He's not going to be able to re-up fast enough. In come the banelings. The mines are going to burrow, but are they going to get the detonations? They need decent hits, but oh my god, it doesn't matter how many Marines you have. It doesn't matter how many splits you have if you can't contest the numbers. The numbers is so key, and SoLJeRVictuS has so much stuff. You can if you have 5 Marines versus 20 banelings, you can split those 5 banelings perfectly, and of course it's not going to work out for you. And it's the telltale sign of numbers versus micro. Khloe can micro his dear heart out right now. Doesn't matter. SoLJeRVictuS has got the advantage by way of look at that big old orange blob. If you look at it, it's like the size of 2 command centers in the minimap. He's going to be able to use this Lings to take map control, morph in a bunch more banelings. He doesn't need to do anything crazy. Just do what he keeps doing, crush army after army, pick up the medevac drops across the map. SoLJeRVictuS on top of his game. The Muta's flock is deadly as ever. And this is how you do it, boys. +3 on the way for everything. We've got adrenal glands. We're going to see cracklings and drilling claws coming for the Terran player, but it might be a little too late. He hasn't taken a 4th yet. It's minute 20 of the game, and the 5th getting thrown out for SoLJeRVictuS as well as more creep, and that's what I'd like to see. The only thing I could say in this game that SoLJeRVictuS has done poorly is he hasn't, really gotten a handle of his creep spread, and that's something that I would say goes back to the Alcester games as well. From what little I've seen of him, he seems to not have the best creep spread, and maybe that's something Khloe will be able to take advantage of, but at this point in time, it doesn't appear to be so. And imagine if this fight was going down on creep, which, it's not much to ask at minute 20 that SoLJeRVictuS has his creep here at this point in time, but he would be so much more mobile. And the great attacks we saw out of him in the first game versus Alcester on Coda, where he was able to flank left and right in a pincer movement with his banelings and lings and envelop the army. It was, it really works out better if you're on creep because, of course, that extra little speed makes a world of difference. 1 Sivage Marauder going forth to try and contest, but at this point in time, boys, look and just watch. It's a tapestry. It's a painting of baneling acid explosion all over the map, ladies and gentlemen. And SoLJeRVictuS is pulling back because he can. It has nothing to do with the fact that he thinks he's going to be able to get beaten at this point in time. He's got such a commanding lead. He can do whatever he wants. A 4th is getting established for Khloe, but at the same time, right? Look at it. It's a massive orange, doing what it wants to do. Chomp, chomp, go the Ultralisks. The banelings detonating on God knows everything. But we're going to go down here rather shortly. Ultralisks doing what they do best, which is never die. And at this point in time, Khloe has to come back. He has to try and defend his 4th because the Mutas can contest the Marines now, and now there's nothing to shoot up. I don't think there's much going for Khloe right now at this point in time, except for the massive amount of medevacs he's got, which, to be fair, is kind of the lay of the land these days. Terran players seem to be making as many medevacs as they can just for that mobility and for that extra healing power. For the time being, We've got Mutaflock making its way to the bottom right of the map, seeing if it can get in on that natural base again. And if not, then we're going to see more of the same out of SoLJeRVictuS. He doesn't really have to worry about much right now. He's not being contested. He's not being pressured. He's perfectly happy to dither and just get his macro up, get his larva, get his minerals, get his gas, and there's not much else that Khloe can do. He just has to get a 200 army and hope he can take an engagement that absolutely crushes it and then crushes the next army, because at this point in time, SoLJeRVictuS is not only going to have one 200 army, he's going to have another right down the throat as soon as he gets enough larva. A full stem coming out of Khloe on his army to try and defeat the units that are at the fourth, which is a planetary, not too smart on him, but there's only one mineral mining base for Khloe. I guess you'd call it 1.5 because the third is a little bit, but SoLJeRVictuS, so many forces, not on creep, but it doesn't really matter at this point in time. In come the Lings, in come the Banelings. The engagement is going to happen out of planetary, not the best place you could have. Planetary fortress getting repaired by SCVs, and it's actually going to live for now. And oh my goodness, down it goes just barely. But not the best engagement that SoLJeRVictuS could have taken. But at this point, does it really matter? And the answer, well, is no. We see 7 more Orchalisks on the way. That's kind of the composition that he had in the first game versus Alcester. Thor's here, Marines, able to dissuade any further aggression out of SoLJeRVictuS. But if we look back home, dude, he's already got his army all the way up. A drop is going down in the natural of SoLJeRVictuS, which is able to clean up a lot of stuff, and there is actually a macro hatchery there, so there's a little bit of larva losing out. The mutas are able to contest it almost single-handedly, and he's not going to lose the hatchery. +3 flying attacks coming on the way for SoLJeRVictuS. At this point in time, he's got such a massive lead, it doesn't really matter what he does. He could probably walk across and crush it as soon as he gets his army up and running again. There come the Ultralisks, the Pitbulls. Oh my goodness, it's just, it's fiery death that they're raining from those lobster claws that they've gotten. That's what I call them, lobster claws. They're kind of choppers. Regardless, big green blob making his way across the map too. He's got a good bit of Widow Mines and Marauders in this. He might be able to take a pretty good engagement, but not on creep, and he's doing the right things by cleaning creep up. And now he's going to go ahead and leave creep. I think he knows he's in a bit of a precarious situation. Mutaflocks still increasing in numbers, +3 flying attacks in the way. Lings, Banelings, Ultras making their devastation known to the world. That Thor's going to go down, and with it, probably Chloe's last remaining hope at any chance in this game. There's a lot of army supply for Khloe, but it's all in medevacs. It's not in much else at all. And SoLJeRVictuS probably had this game won a long time ago and could press here. 36 more Lings on the re-up. In come the Lings, in come the Banelings. The Ultras doing what they do, which is get stuck behind each other, but it doesn't matter. The Orbital Command Center, which was actually the original Command Center, is going down. The Ultras, 66 supply. GG called. 440 gaming. SoLJeRVictuS taking game number 1 in fairly convincing fashion, lads. Well then. It's game 2 of this losers series, best of 3. And the player we're about to introduce to you is currently up 1-0, so if he wins it, he's into the Lazarus match. It is in the bottom right-hand corner of Coda Ladder Edition, representing 440 Gaming, the Orange Zerg player, SoLJeRVictuS. His opponent, who has not won a game all night, unfortunately, keeps doing the shout-outs to Grandma, and, well, Grandma's not really cutting it for him. It is wearing the green trunks, representing nobody but himself, the Green Terran player, Khloe. And Khloe is indeed a man. Just to, for any of those, like myself, thought Khloe was a female. Don't let him fool you. He's a guy. Anyway, he has not built any other structures aside from that supply depot, meaning he's going to build a command center relatively shortly. And I'm assuming he's going to build it on the low ground because that's where his SCV is going. This SCV going to go up and scout and see what it can see, and see something that SoLJeRVictuS has not done all night, and that is build a spawning pool before hatch. That drone is going to say, "Hello, Mr. SCV, please leave my main, leave my house, leave my home." And it's at this point in time, Chloe's like, "What's going on?" He didn't scout the natural. A little bit of alarm bells should be going off. I don't think he's actually scouted the spawning pool, so it's a little funny that Khloe went ahead with the decision to build the command center when there's a spawning pool first. So here's the situation. Spawning pool first for SoLJeRVictuS. If he pushes the tempo and is really super aggressive, he might be able to make something happen early on and in the game quick. Khloe, if he holds and gets a commanding economic lead, might be able to make the mid game more to his favor, and then we're going to see if this game even comes to the late game, what happens from that point on based on how that mid game is drawn out, whether Khloe's able to take the economic advantage, seize it, and really drive it home into an exponential snowball-y victory, or if SoLJeRVictuS is able to do so much economic damage with busts and harass, that sort of thing, that Khloe never gets a foothold in the game and SoLJeRVictuS outright wins it. The Overlord is going to scout what's going on, so he knows what he's up against. And like I was talking about earlier in one of the earlier series, it's important, of course. Why is he lifting? Khloe is going to go ahead and complete the wall with the Overlord Command Center, but when he does that, he eliminates the ability to build another wall there. So these two Lings, if they wanted to, so they scout and they see that the Command Center's not there, right? So now they're going to be able to come up into the main because there's nothing there, and there's one Marine and 4 Lings, and now he's got the pull SCVs, 3 SCVs, and more Lings are on their way. Not one SCV has died just yet. One Ling has died. The reason why I'm underselling this is because this should not ever happen. There come the Lings in on top of the SCVs. 1 SCV going down. The Marine is going to die, and 2 Lings now. Another SCV, another SCV, and that is super, super bad for Khloe. It's really unfortunate, and he meant to make a wall with his orbital command, but either A, realized he couldn't, or B, just decided not to, and then the Lings made their way up into the base. 6 Lings traded for like 4 SCVs, whatever the count was. And now SoLJeRVictuS is back home, like perfectly happy to take 2 extractors and drone to his heart's content and do the Zerg stuff. Do all the Zerg stuff that Zerg love to do and know that they can get away with when there aren't any Reapers on the map, there aren't any Hellions on the map. It's minute 6. At minute 6, it should be 2 Hellions and a Reaper if you only opened with 1 Reaper, and at this point in time, neither of those things exist. A bunker going down at the natural for Khloe to protect the eventual natural that was already there and is now going to go there again. He lifted the natural, I think, a little preemptively. There were Lings there, but they weren't going to ever be able to take it out, at least if he was able to micro it correctly. It is what it is. He made a decision, now he's got to live with it. Now we've got 2 engineering bays going down already with only 1 gas taken, so a lot of gas is going to be going towards upgrades that he might not have the ability to spend, as well as of the eventual stem grade, which is going down right now. There's your stem upgrade. So at this point in time, it's I'm a little wary of Khloe having taken 2 engineering bays, because he doesn't have the gas for it, and you're building something that you're not going to be able to use. It's illustrating that you might not either A, have your head in the game, B, have your timings perfectly right, or C, you're just forgetting something, which would allude to A, not having your head in the game. But I don't think he's forgetting the gas. I think he's doing this on purpose. But 1 upgrade coming down, and it's just going to wait until it gets 100 and go for it there. So maybe not as big an issue as I thought, but typically when you build structures, you want to be able to use them as quickly and efficiently as possible, meaning if you're going to build both your e-bays, get both your upgrades as quickly as possible, because that's going to really maximize why you built them in the first place and what they're used for. 2 Hellions now out on the field, able to get the cancel on one of the creep tumors. 4 Hellions rather, able to start to go to work on these creep tumors. Scans the main, see what he can see, doesn't see much. If the scan were longer, he might see these roaches popping. Another scan going down in the natural, and indeed sees 2 roaches popping out, so he should have an idea, as well as seeing the roach warren, what he's up against now. 16 Lings, a bunch of roaches, and it looks like Khloe's going to get busted here by SoLJeRVictuS by way of Roach Ling, and Hellions might not be enough to deal with it. He needs an armory down to be able to make these into Hellbats, and that will give him a little bit of extra fighting power to be able to hold off these roaches. Unfortunately, right now we've got a bunch of roaches making their way onto the map, and Khloe with nothing to deal with. Stem is just about to finish up, as well as +1 attack for his bio, but how much bio does he have back home? As we check on the natural base of our green Terran player, he doesn't really have all that much. He's throwing out a fuck ton of production, just a lot of production. And really what the case is right now is for the Khloe is that he doesn't have a 3rd command center. So if he's building all this production, he needs to use it, right? He needs to build a bunch of units, make a push. There comes the 3rd command center, the Overseer going in for SoLJeRVictuS to see everything. But at this point in time, there's not much going for Khloe by way of what his game plan is. I can't get a sense of where he's going. I'm not trying to be overly critical, because I've been in this position a lot too, where I'm like, oh god, I'm just kind of guessing my way through the game. But it's not where he wants to be, especially in a tournament setting. This is pretty unfortunate that we're gonna have to see this pan out. I don't think that it's going to go well into his favor, because typically you either go 3cc, capitalize on it, make a fuck ton of SCVs, get your economy going, and then you go after a while and you just kind of do that great Terran production, that line across the map. Right now his third CC's late. He hasn't taken his third position, and he doesn't really have the output going right now. He's only making 2 Marines at a time, which is not where he needs to be right now. He hasn't lost all of his Hellions. That's a good thing. His Hellions are still alive, so when the eventual push happens, they will be Hellbats. But SoLJeRVictuS right now is kind of in that position where he's like, yeah, I'm not being pressured. I'm doing my droning thing. I'm getting my creep spread going on. I'm happy to take a 4th. And in all actuality, when it comes down to it, that's what the Zerg player wants. He's not going to worry at all about this. And even though he's got a bit of a supply block going on, which is about to come out of when these 3 overlords pop, and he's got banding speed on the way, these Hellions are able to you know, they could be utilized more once you make the Hellions use them. I come to that under that a little bit too much myself, but where I make the Hellions and I just end up not doing anything with them because, well, you make Hellions against Zerg, right? They're able to get in on top of these drones actually now and get a good surround. The Banelings are able to kind of clean them up a little bit more, but this is a little sloppy from SoLJeRVictuS, and I think Khloe is able to get a decent return out. But right, watch this, right? So if you have 6 Hellions and you just lose them to kill some drones, when your opponent already has 4 hatches, save those Hellions, make them into Hellbats, and use them in the eventual push, and that will be probably worth its weight in gold compared to what you just did, which is sacrifice 600 minerals for a couple of mining drones and some Banelings. I don't see the worth in that. Finally, pushing out to take his third, a scan going down in front of him. There's a lot of Marines able to one-shot a Muta, essentially, and the third is getting taken for Khloe, as well as that Overlord is getting taken out as well. I really like taking this third position as Terran, because what Terran does is we attack where we defend. So as long as your constant stream of units is uninterrupted, you want to defend where you're attacking, and vice versa. So where you're mining is where you're pushing, and that's what we do. If you're Zerg, if you're Protoss, typically you want to do it away from the action. If you're Terran, you know, that's the easiest way for us to defend, is to keep attacking. Muta's making their way into a mineral line where there isn't a turret or Widow Mines or Marines, so Khloe's gonna have to do the sensible thing and pull his SCVs in order to survive this one. I can't imagine that he's feeling really comfortable right now. This always makes you mad when you're sitting there going, God, all I needed was 1 turret, and these 7 mutas probably would not be here. Stimmed Marines coming up to deal with it right now. No medevacs, or no Widow Mines, rather, just Marines. At this point in time, I want to see Khloe throw down a turret in each mineral line just to shore up his defenses and not have to waste time with medevacs, Marines, and Widow Mines. A drop going down in the main. There's 3 Marines in here, and they're going to get cleaned up pretty quickly. I think, I don't know where that original drop was, but I'm assuming he used it earlier in order to do some damage and lost a bit. That's a lot of Banelings. That's a lot of fucking Banelings. Jesus. It's almost as much as it was in the last series. That's 8, 16, and then 3 is 19, so 19 Banelings. 19 Banelings plus the amount of Banelings that he's already got spells. That's a lot of Banelings. 30 Lings on the way, 1 Muta. It's looking about that time for SoLJeRVictuS where he's like, you know what, I've got my macro going this long, I've got my units out on the map, you don't have what I think you need to defeat me, so you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to make a ton of units, I'm going to start marching them across, and I'm going to trade my army for your army, and your economy cannot keep up with my economy. Why? Because I'm Zerg and you're Terran. So even though Khloe's got himself in a really nice position here, 15, 23 minute mark, it's really going to be difficult for him to keep up with this. Look at that massive Lings and Banlings and Mutas, and the Mutas themselves are, you know, are something not to scoff at, because they could almost trade with that group of Marines there. They're getting surrounded here by Lings and Banlings. Oh, this is not looking good for Khloe. He's going to stick in it. Stick with it. Of course, you're not going to GG at this point in time, but I don't think he understands how, maybe he understands how far behind he is right now, but it's looking really rough right now. It's going to be Ling Bling Muta, of course. You guys know what the deal is. Can he split or can he overwhelm his opponent? Whichever who you are, if you're Terran or Zerg. At this point in time, Khloe's got a decent amount of army here to work with. But 440 Gaming SoLJeRVictuS has proven time and time again that he's about this life. He's about fighting off creep. He's about getting a massive amount of units and just crushing it. And there's some movement going on, but I think it's just been spotted by SoLJeRVictuS, because SoLJeRVictuS has got his army in position. A slight stem forward with a little bit of forward units here. More Banelings being morphed and off of creep, but the Banelings getting really good connections. I don't know if Khloe wanted that. The SoLJeRVictuS having to morph Banelings right in front of the firing line. He's going to cancel him, or is he going to lose it? Oh my god, no, he's not. He can just let him collide, and he's actually going to counterattack from the other side. Here comes SoLJeRVictuS. This is exactly what he did to Alcestor on this map in the first game. He loves his counterattacks and his pincer movements. In come the mutants to clean up the medevacs. Banelings on the Marauders and Marines, and that's all you need. Khloe down to 128 supply. This huge flock of mutas doing what mutas do best. That's triple attack things and, well, absolutely disintegrate medevacs. At this point in time, Khloe has not taken a fourth. He's building one, but I don't think that that's going to work out super well in his favor because there's already an Overlord blocking the natural fourth expansion point, and, well, the other is rather close to his enemy, the Zerg player. +3 attack is on the way, as well as +3 flyer attack for the Zerg player, or +2 rather. So it's looking a little hairy. These mutas might catch out the medevac. Oh yeah, they see it. Down she goes. The boost is going to wear off here shortly, and then when that happens, there's 2 full medevacs are going to lose. He might as well let them go, but they're going to be met by this force of lings and creep here. Able to get a couple of baneling detonations, so it's not like it was a total waste, but that amount of units for that amount of trade is actually pretty much a total waste. Scan going down on his own base. I don't think he meant to do that. He meant to drop a mule, maybe? I don't know. Regardless, he has to live with that decision now. And it's kind of shaping up to be a little unfortunate, ladies and gentlemen, for our Zerg player, or Terran player, rather. He's got a ton of units, and Khloe just doesn't have the map, the units on the map to deal with it right now. And by way of our Zerg player, he's got the economy, he's got the larva, man, he's just got everything, and it's gonna be impossible for the Terran player to really keep up with this unless he takes like a super good engagement and like totally destroys the Zerg player like 3 times in a row, and that's just not gonna happen. And well, it's, you know, you got to deal with one army, another 200 army, another 200 army, and SoLJeRVictuS can do this all day long. Khloe can only do it once or twice. There's mutas in the main doing what they do best. Ultra's coming down. This is a tapestry of death. It is what it is. Banelings crushing it. Ultra's crushing it. Everything is gonna die. Muta's already in on top of that production in the main, and ladies and gentlemen, that's all she wrote. Khloe's gonna GG out here pretty soon. 68 lings on the re-up, and once that happens, there's nothing, no other hope for Khloe. Khloe, unfortunately, didn't win a single game tonight, but yeah, sorry, Grandma. Your boy, your baby grandson is not gonna be winning any tournaments for you, at least tonight.
Thanks for watching the video. Please subscribe to support the ASL by hitting the button now.